Hello, everyone. How's it going? And welcome to a brand new review. And this time on Master Detective Archives Brain Code. I am your host, Twisted Games, and welcome to this brand new review. If you do enjoy this review, give this video a like, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Now, the music here is provided by Glitch City, so thank you, Glitch City, for the music. If you want to learn more about her music, just go to the description below, click on her name, go check out all the she does remixes and everything. So make sure you to do that. Now, talk about this Master Detective Raincoat archive, right? So, what is this game really about? What is the summary of this game? So, you play as a brand new detective named Yuma Cocahead. Now, Yuma Cocahead, when you first meet him in the storage room, you realize that somehow you don't know why you're there, don't know um, who you really are. It's a mystery about you as a person. So when you do, when you go in it, he rides onto Amaterasu train, and then from Amaterasu train, he goes into what a new area called Kanai Ward. Now, Kanai Ward is a new area, and it always rains all the time. It's always gloomy and everything else, and you are sent there from WDO, which stands for the World Detective Organization, to go ahead and investigate the kind of world's biggest ultimate secret within the area, and also protect what is the world from this secret. So basically, when you're there until the end of the game, you try to investigate throughout the whole ward to see who is there, what happens, and quite frankly, what you're trying to do is make sure that you're solving all mysteries possible. And to solve all mysteries possible, you meet with a devil god, aka Shinigami. What does she do? And why you're with her? Well, her character makes a pact with her from this book that she's from, and basically wipes out your memory, wipes anything you did prior to meeting her. It's basically you start from the ground up as a rookie detective. Now, there are several parts in the game. You're doing a lot of investigation, you're doing a lot of walking around, you're doing some action. But let's talk about the main gameplay, the part, because that's what's going to drive you on how you want to play it. So, with the main gameplay, with the overworld, right? So, the overworld, you'll walk around from point A, point B, going to the main missions, the main missions and to investigate the main mission areas. But what is there to do outside of going to point A, point B, investigating missions, talking to people? Well, in the game, to add a request called requests. It's side questing. Basically, what's going to happen is certain chapters of the game, certain NPCs will have a green exclamation point, and it's like, oh, you have a side quest, and so you go to them to ask you do something for them. Sometimes very simple, like they're asking you, well, I don't know what to do here. Can you give me like advice? And you give them certain advice, and then you go, hey, wait, oh, they're like, okay, and then they go away. And another one's like, well, I need this something over here I need something to help me. You ask certain couple people, or what can I do to help them? Oh, okay, that's completed, and then you tell them like you can get this from there. You're like, oh, okay, and then they run away, and therefore they complete the side quest. So each chapter has a certain amount of side quests, but also in these chapters you had to complete these side quests in these particular chapters. But 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 what you can do is that when you beat the game, you can go ahead and complete those missed requests if you want to go ahead, and if you're just concentrating story, you can go ahead and just complete those requests. The Because of those requests, if you proceed to the next chapter and you don't complete those quests, they actually disappear, they don't come back, you cannot complete them. So a good example is like, let's say there's 30 side quests in this particular chapter, and you do 2 or 3 side quests, and then when you go to the other main part of the game, the mystery labyrinth, well, you can't do the three. You can't do the third one. The third one's lost, and you can't do the third side quest the rest of the game. And again, you only can do that once you beat the game and back into it through the chapter select. And another overworld thing you can do. It's called Gumshoe Gab. Now, what is this? This is basically the interactive part of the game where you find these figurines, Shinigami figurines more specifically, spread all over Kane Ward. And what it'll do is certain certain Gabs, certain ones go and talk to different detectives. So basically with detectives you'll be working with, you have Chibuyako, you have Halara, Desahiko, you have Vivia, Fubuki. You know, you're just naming those are players you can detect you're mainly working with throughout the whole game. So what happens is that when you get these gabs, it unlocks like a free time event. And basically it's like Yuma has already talked to these people in the past, but he forgot what he talked about with them, and therefore you learn more about them, more specifically why they joined the detective agency. Some are just really sad, and some are really nice about it. And you want to know what your motivation, why they're like kind of there, as it is why they're a detective, why they are, and stuff like that. And so this doesn't, you can go ahead and skip these gumshoe gabs. They give you the first one immediately when you when you're in the first chapter. So you'll know what they look like. It's like little blue orbs that go around each area. And certain ones you have to get in certain chapters. And the others you can spread those out in multiple chapters. Like one particular orb you can get from chapters 1 or 4, or maybe 2 and 3. And other ones, like if they're in chapter 3 and you miss it, that's the only time you get it in that chapter 3 area. Now, with this part of the game, you can, if you miss someone, damn, I missed those gumshoe gaps, it's okay. Once you beat the game, you can go ahead and chapter select and go back and get them. Also, what will help you out as well in these gumshoe gaps, when there is a particular person, you'll give you hints. And the hint was like, oh, it's our water fountain area. And what you do is, oh, there's your chapter, then you go by water fountain. Found water fountain, bam, there's a gumshoe gap. Also, what happened too is if you miss these gumshoe gabs, it will tell you in a particular chapter or chapters that gumshoe gab is. What you can do is certain play from that beginning of that chapter, go ahead and skim through it and find that gumshoe gab. Okay, I got it. I got all 25. I can view all of them in succession and learn about them. That's what the gumshoe gab does. Along with that, sometimes in the overworld there are quick time events. What do these quick time events do? Basically, your characters are being chased by a group of people. Like, well, I need to dodge. So sometimes you have to press Y to dodge the thing. So you would do your press Y in your controller. Oh, I need jump up, and the controllers tell and screen prompts you to press up. So on the controller, you press up on the controller. That's how you do it. Now, if you fail, it's okay to fail. Nothing really happens. You just replay the last quick time event. You're like, oh crap, I went too fast, or I just misclicked. And what you do, you just go ahead and redo that quick time event. And then the last one is what you would call detective points. Now, this is actually most intertwined in the overworld of the game and what we call it in the mystery labyrinth part of the game. Basically, detective points, how you get them and why it's important, because detective points, you can talk to anything that's like talkable, and you go points. It's like an investigation tool. So when you're investigating crime scenes and are just talking to random people, you get points involved. And what the points help you with is it gives you a rank. And now what the rank's going to do is breaks down into skills. And in turn point again, you're allowed to use these skills. So these skills are mainly helping with Mystery Labyrinth. So for instance, in Mystery Labyrinth, you're actually deducted by health. What you do is increase your health, eliminate solution blades, help you with key puzzles in the game. That's what the skill trees do. Along with that, like I said, it helps in the mystery lab, which is the other part of the game, the second part of the game. The main, I like to say, it's actually like a 50-50 thing. Overworld, Mystery Labyrinth. What the Mystery Labyrinth do? Well, the Mystery Labyrinth is the manifestation of the crime. Whoever the culprit is creates the Mystery Labyrinth and you're supposed to solve each chapter by using the Mystery Labyrinth. What happens is Shinigami goes ahead and calls it, called the mystery labyrinth when you get enough clues to go ahead and solve a mystery. And this happens from chapter basically 0 to 5. That's all you have to do is go through, like, oh, so this chapter over here has um like maybe 20 keys in it. Well, the 20 keys will help you solve that case. Other chapters a lot more, like 30 something keys. Well, the 30 something keys will help you solve the case. So it depends on how many solution keys you need, and sort of will tell you basically, oh, we're about to go into Mystery Labyrinth. Along with the Mystery Labyrinth, there are many mini games. One mini game is basically raising deathmatch. It basically they have statements, and those statements, what they're going to do is with those mystery statements, you basically kind of like deflect, or basically will say, hey, prove them wrong. So we're going to prove that statement wrong by using the solution blade. And our game modes like, hey, there is Shinigami puzzle. Basically, you need to create a word out of the letters that they provide to you and the hints that are allocated to you. And then they're like ones like, whoa, there's a question, and there are 3 different answers. You got to pick the correct answer to fill that question. So, which is why there's actually a diverse part of the game in terms of making the action play good. If you don't have the action part of the game, this part be boring. And this part I like is that this mystery labyrinth actually is a good break away from the overworld. Because also too with the mystery labyrinth, in each chapter you have to work with a certain detective, and a certain detective has a certain forte. So for example, forte, like this one particular detective can rewind time. And what happens is when you take rewind time, you can redo something you mess up on. And our detective has disguise ability, and what happens in that is once that person sees someone, that person can dress up as them with the voice, with the voice and hiding everything, and that person can imitate that person they just saw, and they will help you in the overworld, and will also help you to the mystery labyrinth. Problem in the mystery labyrinth is each person cannot use their fortes. So, and with the detective points, the reason why detective points are actually really well because they help you in mystery labyrinth. But also, at the end of each chapter, you are graded, and when the higher your grade, the more points you get. So, for example, the highest grade you get is an SS. So let's say you get 1,500 points, you can go ahead and rank like 2 or 3 times, and that'll help you upgrade your detective points tree. And there's, like I said, certain things like you get solution blades. And the reason deathmatch is you eliminate solution blades what you have. And the Shinigami puzzle, for instance, it eliminates letters. It slows it down a little bit and eliminates incorrect blade hints. So that's what you're going to do. It's like you're using this. It does help you a lot because it does eliminate a lot of solution blades. So it makes your gaming experience quite easier and feel less frustrating. Now, what are the positive and negative things? Because in each game, there are always positives and there are always negatives. We'll speak on the positives of the game first. And if we're going about the positives of the game, one of the most positive part of the game, they all come to 3 together. The world design, the art of the game, and its character designs. Those three go hand in hand together to make the world what it is. Like I said, before it kind of worked in a gloomy area and rains all the time. It's also based on future technology, like more like futuristic part of the game, because there's a place that controls it, develops futuristic things. So you had to make all those 3 together. And I believe they did nail down the world, they nailed down the art, where it's going for in the art design, and also nailed the characters in the game. The characters in the game is actually, I think the design is actually really good, and I actually do like all the characters that's in the game. Some are hellish people, some are really nice people. They have a wide variety of characters, and with those characters as well, not everyone is one-dimensional person, and each character has their own chapter to flesh out. So like you're playing against these certain peacekeepers, or by the way, are just a police force inside the game. You had to basically clear out people that are been wrongly accused, or yourself wrongly accused, have been accused of something that you didn't do, and basically solve the crime. One go with the world design, I think, in the soundtrack. The soundtrack is really good. There is one particular song, I think it's called Conan Ward, like main song. I love that song so much. I actually put it on my workout playlist. So I think the soundtrack's really good, what it does and everything. The art, the characters, and the story, not just character design, but story and the characters, I think really good. There's a lot of twists and turns that you're on your feet, not just in like the last part of the game. Oh my god, that part. I think in the stories within each chapter, I think there's a lot of good twists and turns in it. Of course, just one particular chapter, and I was like, whatever. But other than that one particular chapter, everything else is really good. And also, I think one of the positives is one, the $60 game. And for a $60 game, took me about 26 to 28 hours to play. That's me doing all the side questing, do the gumshoe gap, how fast or slow I got to each of the mystery labyrinths, and how quick and fast I got through the investigations area. It depends on how fast or slow you want to go with take your time. I can see someone playing this game for 30 hours. I can see someone play this game for 24 hours. With 24 hours, not getting crap about the request, not getting crap about Gumshoe Gab. So I can see a particular person doing it that way. Now, we have all those good things going on my left, basically. Now to my right is a bunch of negatives. And a lot of these negatives, you can blame it on the developer themselves. Or you can either blame it on the Nintendo Switch and its hardware. But in year 2023, yeah, that's what we're in right now. A lot of the stuff is like, they should be fixed, right? I think there are frame rate issues. There are times where you're using deathmatch and you're doing a move, and you're just like, and with the Mr. Live using deathmatch, if you wait for the very last second, you get like a boost that helps you with your points at the end of the game. So you want to do like very end, you want to do it. If you do something over and over again, there's a certain cap to it. So doing it. So maybe I have to duck down. And what happened is I will go down and duck it to a certain point, and then the thing probably slows down, or just like, oh crap, I mistimed it because it slowed up. Like the words going fast at you, but the game locks kind of like slows down. Like, oh crap, man, frame rate droppage. Certain cutscenes for some reason has same frame rate droppage. Um, there's a lot of lip syncing issues too. So you don't want to be immersed into the game. And I can see people getting angry when immersing into the game, where they're talking. The voice, you can actually the voice and the words are saying is green, and by the time they're done with the voice and the subtitles, as the mouth is still moving. And I think on that point, it's actually pretty unacceptable in year 2023. And that is, I think, more a developer issue than a Nintendo Switch issue. And so I think that's pretty you're probably trying to be immersive in the game, and you just look at that and you're like, ah, damn it. Well, I could joke about that, but I think that the lip syncing is a bad issue. Another bad issue, and this is more primarily in the first like 3 chapters. For some reason, chapter 4 and 5 it actually went pretty quick. Is the loading times? I think the loading times is pretty horrendous for the most part. Um, Sometimes it literally will take like a minute, and you're just like, well, what am I supposed to do? And on loading screen, there's certain facts. Well, there's certain times I read all the facts, or the facts already multiply. I'm just like, I'm done reading because I already read those facts over and over again. So I think, and some of the loading times will be like, well, you came from outside into a particular building, loading screen. You do something in the building, and the building and you do a couple things. You go back from the outside to the building to the outside, and be another loading screen. Like, I just did that. Why do you have to repopulate that long to order to get the outside world when I just came from the outside world? So I think at that point, it's real frustrating. And like I said, Some issues can be to the Nintendo Switch, and other things can be pointed to the developer. I think developers had a like they had a vision in the game of what they wanted to do with it. Nintendo gave them that platform, which I think most of us of the gamers are actually appreciative. But it isn't like when this game isn't a Nintendo game. It's actually really dark. It is definitely teen to mature uh things in the game, the nature of it. So when you think of like Nintendo like IP, this isn't like a Nintendo IP that you would like suspect to Nintendo is with it kid friendly and stuff like that. Now, with that in mind, like I said, it's your opinion. If it's a Switch issue, a developer issue, I think it's a both issue. A Nintendo hardware is severely behind everyone else's, but at the same time, developer with lip syncing, I think is a bad thing. Frame rate is a bad thing, and that probably need a little more time. Nintendo said no, this game probably needed to come out, so the best way they could with what the time they had. Can't blame them. Can't really blame Nintendo because they worked I don't know how many years on this game, but one or the other, you gotta get it worked out. Also, too, within this game, let's say in the main game, you completed, you did all the chapters, you completed all requests, and you completed, and you got all the guns you got. Other than those three main things within the game, there is actually no replay value within the game. So basically, you complete those three things, or just like, wow, well, I played all the game, but I guess I can't play anymore. Well, there is DLC. They have the season pass. I think they have 4 DLCs. I think the first DLC is coming out. It's about Desakiko, but when this video comes out, it either comes a week or the next week. It depends where that DLC comes out, and it's about how Desakiko became detective in his first case, blah blah, and stuff like that. I mean, other than those DLCs coming in, is the reason why you actually keep the game. Actually, physically, you actually keeping the game. The reason why you're keeping it is if you like it enough, you're going to spend more money on it for the DLC. I mean, other than that, there is actually no replay value in the game. And we're going to another case because this is made by the creator of the Danganronpa series, which is I have not mentioned Danganronpa yet. I'm surprised, but the reason why I mention it because it is the same creator from the Danganronpa series. I'm like, okay, what's it got to do with this? Well, some people might think it's an exact clone of Danganronpa. Some people may think that it might not have enough gameplay to separate itself from Danganronpa. There's a lot of questions where this game is going to be that good or not. So, first of all, does this do enough to separate itself from a Danganronpa series? For the most part, is yes, it does. What do you mean by yes, it does? Well, one main thing it does is it separates the Danganronpa formula in terms of how it's constructed. So, like in Danganronpa, you basically have to do free time with a certain amount of days within the game, and then all of a sudden something happens where it occurs. In the main game of Rain-Code, you go point A, point E, point B, but you can do a request, you can find gumshoe guys, what you can do. You can do for the story. The story is already set based on what happens, and it will tell you do you want to continue on certain points in the game. Another thing too, the gameplay is drastically different. Like I said, there are a lot of mini games in Mystery Labyrinth, and it's not like it's shooing to just that's just there to create gameplay. In Danganronpa, you can kind of say like, okay, well they're all just arguing each other in debates. Well, we gotta do throwing a Heyman Gambit to proceed. We're gonna try the taxi game, where you have to find like a certain route to make sure to progress through to get the correct answer. Some people can say that's kind of forced in this Rain-Code game. Those things are fluid; they're not forced in. It helps you retain gameplay. Its gameplay is fluid within the game, right there. For how it from Danganronpa to Rain-Code, that's different. Another difference is in Rain-Code, there might be like the same amount of characters, but certain characters are more emphasized in Renko than it is in Danganronpa. Danganronpa, you meet the 15 original people plus Monokuma, and that's the rest of the game. You don't meet anyone else until maybe like the very last chapter of the game. Maybe like you meet someone else different. Renko, each chapter to reveal new characters, and some characters disappear in an offset, and then other characters stay throughout the whole rest of the game. Like in chapter 2, there's someone that hires you to investigate a murder that happened, and that person actually stays within the whole game. And the other characters, like in chapter 1, there's a couple characters that they stay in, and they're like, okay, well, everything's solved, so you're not really part of the main story. Now, each character has their main issue, their main arc, the main things within the game, and that's fine. Not everyone can actually proceed along with the game, so that is a good thing to stand out alone from it. But there's some parts of it, especially the soundtrack, that's like as a lot of Danganronpa themed thing. Like for instance, the very first song you enter into the game, I'm like, this is a Danganronpa remix song, especially from Danganronpa 2. And I'm just like, okay, I get it, but I think that you need to fully stand out from it. And I get it's a spiritual successor to Danganronpa and everything else, but there's certain parts of it that you need to stay away from it. Music is like the key point of it. Gameplay, you can do gameplay how you want. Like Shin Gun Puzzle is Heyman Gambit. The questions that pop up when things chasing you down to find an answer. That's the same thing with the taxi cab or there's no boring one in Danganronpa. We know the right doors are there, but it does enough to separate it. And there also key parts in the game with other ones that side offs to make sure that the baits keep on going. Also, the closing armament is basically the same exact thing as the Dr. Denouement that's happening in Raincoat. It's at the end of the Mystery Labyrinth. It's the same manga theme. It's like, okay, you have things to the left, the equals what happened on the book, and when you're done with it, you go ahead and the protagonist talks about it, what exactly happened. So in certain respects, it does separate itself from Danganronpa. At the same time, there are certain clones like the music and certain gameplay, but the gameplay does enough to separate itself from the original Danganronpa. That is up to you, whether or not you think that's true or not. But the main point, what's going to happen is this game close to Danganronpa in terms of game, or is it actually better? Now, in way Danganronpa has been, the further along it is, I believe the game doesn't age well. In this particular game, I think the game can age really well. I think it needs a few tweaks, it needs a few updates, returning to fix your frame rate, lip syncing, stuff like that. If you get that going, the game can actually age very well, and can be not just people who are like Danganronpa. I think it can actually appeal to the mass audience. I think that's what they were going for, and I think as a person who likes Danganronpa, and maybe you're a suspect about it, I think it does well to try to appeal to the mass audience. And I don't know how sales are and everything, but hopefully they do good on this. And based on the ending, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but how the ending is already better than Danganronpa ending, because Danganronpa are always these, oh wow, is a cliffhanger. This one actually has a definitive ending, so if you do decide to make another Raincoat game, it's going to have to be a new set of character, new set area. It has to do a new set of everything, unless I want to do a brand new IP itself. Now, I got the positive and negatives of the game. Let's talk about what score I will be giving today. Now, it's a really tough decision for me to make a score, because there is a fanboyism score. I'm not gonna lie, fanboyism in me will probably give this game a 9, but I have to do it on a objective score, and my objective score is between two scores I have in my head. I think if I give this one score, is I think they deserve it to the game. Because the main issue is, I think, a Nintendo Switch hardware. And this game was made on the PS5, Xbox, or even on the PC. I think a lot of technical issues within the game does not exist. So, I think on that regard, unfortunately, you had to deduct points for it to being not on Nintendo Switch, for being on Nintendo Switch, not anything else. And you also deduct it because there's no replay value unless you wait for the DLC to come out. So in that regard, this is a tough score for me to rate it. At the end of the day, I'm actually going to rate this game an 8. A high 8 or low as I can possibly give it. I think I realize it's hard to be a 7.5 lowest if you can't get over all the technical issues. The 8 is a fair score given with the technical issues in the game. I think the gameplay does do enough to keep you on hold, and it's not worth $70, it's worth $60. I think prices also comes into it too. Because now these games are dragging up to $70. It's not to see games not worth $70 and be 60, and it's a good price. If this game was $70, I'd probably give it 7.5 because of technical issues. But since it's worth 60, I give it an 8. It's not the most perfect game because there's some flaws. Like I said, there's flaws, technical issues, and I can't give this game a high as it is. I can give it higher than 8 because of that technical issue. If this game had no technical issue, I'd probably rate this a 9. But the reason why it's not a 9 because there's no replay value within the game. But so, on that note, thank you to everyone who decided to watch this review. And I hope you guys have a nice day, a great day, and hopefully you guys tune in to my future content. And until then, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.